Hey, Carolina Tony coming to you from Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Thank you for stopping my channel. If you're here for the first time, be sure to go down here and click subscribe. Today we're going to look at a crime museum, Alcatraz East. Should be pretty interesting. Let's go check it out. Okay, Alcatraz East. Let's go get a ticket. Okay, there is a photo of Alcatraz off the coast of California. Okay, there is a head cage and some leg irons. Water torture funnel. Okay, there's some brass swivel cannon, sword, and there's a pirate. Okay, let's look down. See that guy. Being tortured. We're in the western section of the museum. There's a knife of the hanging judge. U.S. Marshal badges. And there's a death mask of Pancho Villa, famous Mexican outlaw. And there's a picture of what he really looked like. This is kind of neat. These were cattle rustler shoes. Said in the 19th century, these shoes were worn by cattle rustlers to fool the authorities. They nailed horseshoes on them. Okay, they said this was a shoulder holster that belonged to Jessie James. He lived from 1847 to 1882. There's a walking stick from Frank James. I just about walked by this. These floorboards right here, they are bloodstained. They were taken from the house of George B. Hyde in Logan County, Kentucky. It's where they were shot at. Said Jesse nearly bled to death in an upstairs bedroom. And these revolvers, the Smith & Wesson 44 model Schofield and Smith & Wesson Russian Model 3 belonged to members of the James gang. And here is some artifacts from the Frankfurt Distillery, moonshine jug and a bottle capper, 35-gallon copper moonshine still. Okay, there's the death mask of John Dillinger. Here's a wood-carved gun. It said on March the 3rd, 1934, he escaped from a escape-proof jail in Crown Point, Indiana, and he used something like this to get out. Here's a picture of him. And in fact, Melvin Purvis, one of my great-great-grandfathers, was actually the man that shot him. There's a submachine gun. And here's a Colt Mini 45 caliber submachine gun. There's an original picture found in Clyde and Bonnie's hideout in Louisiana. Bonnie and Clyde. Here's a 9mm Uzi that was used in the filming of Scarface with Al Capone. I'm sorry, with Al Pacino. Here's some pictures of some mob bosses. Bugs Moran. And there's one of the monstrous machine guns down there.
In Chicago, the kingpin was Al Capone.
There's his suit. Mickey Cohen. In 1971, a man known as D.B. Cooper, called Dan, that was an alias, I don't really know who he was, hijacked an airplane and jumped out over the mountains, never to be seen again. And to this day, it's still a mystery. And here's some people that we know today. Martha Stewart, convicted and sentenced to prison for insider trading. Today she'd be a hero based on all the mess that's going on in America now by some of these crooked politicians. And here's a baseball that was smuggled into prison and signed by Charles Manson and Juan Cornona, both incarcerated in California State Prison. These replicas are both intact explosive devices. The Cane shotgun and the pizza bomber incident were created to film America's Most Wanted, which featured the case 3 times, and these pieces also feature on episode of travel channels of Mysteries at the Museum. Here's a dental cast from Ted Bundy. This jacket and this purse were worn by the victim, Carly Richards, on the night of July the 20th, 2012, when James Holmes, dressed in technical gear, burst into the new Batman movie, The Dark Knight, and killed 12 people. In 2015, he was found guilty of all 165 counts of murder. And this is a replica of the bomb that was used on American Airlines flight number 444, where the Unabomber in November the 15th, 1979, from Chicago to Washington, D.C. says luckily no one was severely injured, but 12 people were treated for smoke inhalation. There's the Unabomber. He said, "I will kill, but I will make at least some effort to avoid detection so I can kill again." This is a book by Chris Kyle and it's signed by him. American Sniper. It was a very good movie. Here's a display of some of the cold cases of famous unsolved crimes. The Black Dahlia. Betty Bessinger was taken on a morning stroll with her daughter in Los Angeles when they stumbled on what they thought was a mannequin. So on closer inspection, they discovered the mannequin was actually the severed body of a young woman, cut in two from her waist and drained of blood. Never found out who did it. Jimmy Hoffa said he was a former president of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters and he just disappeared. Natalie Holloway, on a trip to Aruba, just disappeared. And there's some clothing that Natalie owned. No one knows what happens to her. In this part of the museum, they show how they take a cast of a shoe print and match it to who perhaps owned the shoe. This is called microcasting. It's a process used to record detailed prints and impression whether the subject was alive or deceased, whether rigor mortis or decompress in detail. And this is an example of an autopsy where he was shot in the shoulder by a shotgun and his toe was cut off. A gunshot to his thigh, a knife wound on his side. Now his neck's all red, he's been strangled. Here's some tools of the autopsy trade. A bone mallet, a bone saw, a gallstone body fluid scoop. Right there. Rib shears to cut the ribs in two. And this here comes from the Buford Pusser Museum. Buford Pusser was born on December 12th of 1937. Was killed August 21st, 1974. He was elected sheriff at age 26, the youngest sheriff in Tennessee. There was a movie made about him called Walking Tall. There's some of his weapons. There's a few YouTube videos out about the Brushy Mountain Prison. And here is some things that were made there. A Brushy Mountain wallet was made by an inmate. There's a key. Investigator's badge. They even had art, did art there. These shoes belong to another killer, James Earl Ray. This was his final pair of shoes at the Riverbed Maximum Security Prison in Nashville. And here's some handcuffs that are actually used in the Alcatraz Penitentiary Prison. And here is some of what they call contraband that's found in prisons. Blackjacks and knives, a shank, a zip gun. Somebody's made a gun out of a piece of pipe. All kinds of knives, tattoo machines, and brass knuckles. There's another, that's a brass pistol that was made in prison by one of the cons. Some ball and chains from the 1828 era. Andersonville Prison, manacles. I did a video from Andersonville a few months back. Okay, here's a prison cell. Some more stuff. I guess this will be solitary. Of course, here is a replica of Al Capone's prison cell. I think he lived pretty good while he's in prison. Not a lot of room, but all the comforts of home. He received a 1-year sentence for carrying concealed weapons while in Philadelphia. There's a typical prison room with a steel toilet and a sink, and bunk beds. Let's see if you can escape. I'm not crawling through there. And here's Old Smoky. It's a Tennessee electric chair. Was in the Tennessee State Penitentiary in Nashville between 1916 and 1960. And here is a gas chamber. It said in 1924, Nevada conducted the first successful execution with gas using cyanide to execute gang member G. Jong. And here are some anchor bolts from a electric chair from South Carolina, 1912 to 1986. And there's some of the restraints from electric chair in Illinois. Of course, now they'll use lethal injection, and this is some of the syringes that they would use. And this is an actual noose from the Don Jail in Toronto, Canada, to hang John Zilko. He was executed April 13, 1915 for murder, but he managed to save the life of the accomplice by claiming all responsibility of the crime. Movie Bonnie and Clyde in 1967 starring Faye Dunaway and Warren Beatty. This was a car used. Check out all the bullet holes. This is a 1933 Essex terraplane that is like what John Dillinger had. There's OJ running from the law. Right there. And there's a car. Things used to fight riots and all. There's a riot shield and a fog machine, a gun to shoot gas grenades. And here's a wall full of all kinds of merchandise that a lot of them are fake. This is a machine that in November 2007, authorities disrupted a criminal network in Colombia, South America, that manufactured counterfeit medicine. This is a uniform of a gang from New York called the Dead Rabbits. This is the Dead Rabbits uniform. Well, thank you for joining us today. I hope you've enjoyed your tour of the Alcatraz Crime Museum. But as always, y'all have a good day.